The Las Vegas Raiders, Josh McDaniels 2.0. How will it be different than when he was with the Denver Broncos? Belichick had a very successful run and still is on one after he crapped out in his first time as a head coach in the NFL, even though, he actually did make the playoffs as a Cleveland Browns head coach, and what ended his tenure there was the whole moving of the team. But you get what I'm saying. McDaniels, Derek Carr has got his BFF from college back, the best receiver in the NFL, Devontae Adams. What will he look like? We didn't see him in the preseason at all. Add Chandler Jones to Max Crosby on that defensive line. I've been saying the Raiders win the division. It would be their first division title since their 2002 Super Bowl season. That's the last time the Raiders won their division. And the Broncos, their last playoff win was Super Bowl 50. But let's ride with Russell Wilson. The prize of the offseason quarterback world is now wearing the Denver Broncos orange for a new head coach in Nathaniel Hackett. Is that all you need to add to a team with a young defense and some young receivers and some young offensive linemen and some young running backs? The veteran presence of Russ. What will he look like in his first new home in his professional playing career? So much riding on that in Denver. The Kansas City Chiefs have won the division 6 straight times. The Los Angeles Rams of the 70s won their division 7 straight times. The Patriots won 11 straight in the Tom Brady administration. The Chiefs are on a remarkable run as Andy Reid is in his 10th year now in Kansas City. So much shade thrown at Patrick Mahomes this offseason just because Tyreek Hill is gone. So many people think the Chiefs will not win and maybe even make the playoffs. What a fascinating season for Kansas City that has Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling and so much more. And then you've got the Los Angeles Chargers, their last division win, 2009. Can this be the year with Khalil Mack being added and J.C. Jackson when he's back healthy for year 2 of Brandon Staley? Justin Herbert has so much MVP talk around him. Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and the rest of that offense and defense. The Chargers look loaded in the most loaded division in football. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Peterson is their new head coach. Or 3 words, not Urban Meyer. The worst head coaching performance in the history of head coaching performances in the National Football League is now in the books. It's in the rearview mirror unless I keep bringing it up, which I plan to do. But Doug Peterson, man, a Super Bowl winning head coach who knows quarterbacks, former quarterback, was a guy who's right near Brett Favre for all those years, an offensive-minded assistant, and then Super Bowl winning head coach. Add him to the mix. What will Trevor Lawrence look like? That's about it. That's about it for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And how much can they surprise people and win football games? You could say same thing about the Houston Texans because Lovey is back. Egad, Lovey Smith is the head coach in Houston, and Davis Mills, year 2. Everybody thinks that he was just kind of, a throw-in in the draft from a couple of years ago because they knew they were going to lose Deshaun Watson. You might as well take a quarterback, but he's got some ability, and if he came out this year, he might have been the first quarterback off the board. I don't think he's a placeholder. I think he's their future, and I think they're going to play like that with Dameon Pierce, this running back from Florida. Let's see what the Texans can do and how much they can surprise some people. The Tennessee Titans, is this Ryan Tannehill's last ride? Certainly with Malik Willis drafted in the middle of this last year's draft. Derrick Henry's MVP campaign begins against the Giants this very weekend because how much is this guy going to shoulder of this offense? A.J. Brown is gone. They've got a receiver who looks just like him in height, weight, and speed, but can Treylon Burks be the A.J. Brown of this offense as the Titans go for their 3rd straight divisional title? Only other time that's happened, the first 3 years of their existence when the Houston Oilers were born from 1960 to 62. The Titans have that on their radar screen to try and repeat. Unless the Colts go ahead with Matt Ryan, the natural in his new digs, in his new spot, with that defense and that offensive line and an MVP candidate running back of his own in Jonathan Taylor. Can the Colts win this division? By the way, only one playoff win for this very successful franchise since 2014. That's it. Can the Colts match that by making the playoffs and winning a game and getting ahead for Frank Reich. Let's move to the AFC North. This is a loaded division, too. Year 4 for Lamar. Year 15 for John Harbaugh. For a team that was so banged up last year, almost 30 players on injured reserve last year. So how do you evaluate the running game now that people are back healthy? How do you evaluate the defense now that people are back healthy? How do you evaluate Lamar Jackson when he says, I want a new contract, and he sets a deadline for Friday? How will that affect things for this team? What is their big-time passing game? Could it be 2 tight ends in Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely? Is that it? Let's see. The Steelers, it's year 16 for Mike Tomlin, who, by the way, in those 16 years has never finished last, never had a losing record, only finished third place once when they were 8-8 in 2006. It's Mitchell Trubisky's second shot at being a starter in this league. And then there's Kenny Pickett right behind him. Najee Harris, one of the great young talents at running back. How much is he going to shoulder of this offense as they put it together under maybe a rookie quarterback? We shall see. Cleveland Browns, we all know what a total disaster it has been on the Deshaun Watson front, but it is now potentially behind them. They know it's an 11-game suspension. The question is how many games can Jacoby Brissett quarterback this team to in the winner's circle before Deshaun Watson comes back? Can they stay in the division race, let alone the playoff race, without Deshaun Watson in a terrific run game? Amari Cooper's now there on offense. Myles Garrett is a defensive player of the year on defense. Let's see what they can do while they wait for Deshaun Watson to come back. Jacoby Brissett has made only one career start in week 1, a season opener, and that was for the 2019 Colts when Andrew Luck surprised them by retiring on the team. Brissett will be under center for the Browns against Baker Mayfield in a huge week 1 game. The Cincinnati Bengals, they are American Football Conference champions, and they're got even better. And they may have the best quarterback, and I'm saying it, they may wind up having the best quarterback in the conference, and it's loaded. Joe Burrow, can he just say, okay, I hear all the Mahomes talk. I hear all the Josh Allen talk. Guess what? I'm Tom Brady 2.0, and I'm going to lead the Cincinnati Bengals back to the Super Bowl right now because they improved the offensive line in front of me, and I've got weapons galore, and everybody's overlooking us because we're the Cincinnati Bengals who have not won back-to-back division titles since Forrest Gregg's first 2 years there when he followed up a Super Bowl loss with, wait for it, winning the title in their division again, although it was a strike-shortened year, but we'll just throw that out. The AFC East, we all know about my Jets. They got loaded up on offense and loaded up on defense with all of these young guys. Can Zach Wilson come back healthy and actually win some games and even shock them to get to the playoffs for the first time since their ground and pound days, back-to-back AFC championship losses that ended in 2010. That's your Jets update right there. And then you've got the Miami Dolphins, their last playoff win. You know when the last time they had a playoff win? I'll tell you. When Jay Fiedler beat Peyton Manning in the 2000 wild card game. That's the last playoff win for the Miami Dolphins. They have made the playoffs a handful of times since then, but they were one and done. And now here comes Mike McDaniel, who's never done this before. And they add Tyreek Hill with Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki, and they've got running backs for days, and they've got a hard-hitting defense, and everybody overlooking them because their quarterback is Tua. What's Tua going to do with this opportunity? Can Tyreek Hill bring his game and be electric for the Dolphins in the same way he was for Kansas City? What will Tua do with his opportunity? Year 23 for Bill Belichick, and everybody's wondering if he's lost it. Even with taking a rookie quarterback to the playoffs last season. But they have looked so horrible in preseason with new play callers who have never done that before, despite their experience in Matt Patricia and Joe Judge being in New England. Who the hell knows about what the Patriots can do this year? No earthly idea. But the only thing we definitely know is it's the Buffalo Bills division to lose. It's their division to win. It's their conference to win. It's their league to win. Because top to bottom, from MVP quarterback to stable locker room to stable coaching staff, even though they lost Brian Daboll, they've got an offense that appears to be on cruise control. And they added James Cook, and they've added players in the draft, and they've got Josh friggin' Allen. It's this the time for the Buffalo Bills. Has the moment finally arrived where they get to the mountaintop and bring the Lombardi Trophy to Western New York? Can their dreams come true?